This video is brought to you by iMazing. The iPadOS Public Beta 2 has been out with a couple exciting new features like Scribble and the new widgets and others that I'm not listing in this intro, but the real question is, should you, a consumer, install it on your primary device like your iPad Pro or iPad Air or 10.2 inch, etc, etc. And in this video, we're going to answer that question with a rather in-depth test. But before we continue here, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, as the YouTube algorithm likes that and will help push my content to more people. So obviously this is going to be an imperfect test. I can't test every single app on the App Store, I can't test every single facet of this firmware, and I'm not going to run into every bug. However, hopefully after this test you can get a good idea as to how smooth or stable this version or this public beta is on iPads in general. So first up, let's demo Face ID with the iPad Pro here. It would be Touch ID with any other, Touch ID based iPad like the 2017 iPad Pros and the iPad Air and 10.2 inch and mini, but I digress. We are on the home screen here. We can demo some animations here. I can pull down the notification tab, very smooth. We can do the control center tab, and as you can see here, this stuff is smooth. It should be because of the modern hardware. However, I would say that with these, public beta or beta firmware versions, they're going to be a bit more glitchy than the final version released in the fall. I can toggle the app switcher. There's nothing open right here. I can toggle Spotlight Search, and we can use Scribble, which is a new iPadOS 14 feature that you might want to take use of. It's really great because you can handwrite in any text field, as I demoed in a previous video. So I can, cursive write Spotify here to search that, and boom, it pops up, and I can actually tap on that search result. And we can open this app to see how stable it is. My musical taste is very, very interesting lately. It's all over the place here. David Bowie, The Lion King, Bobby Shmurda, Call on Me, Lady Gaga. The list goes on. Daft Punk is probably one of my favorite groups ever. But anyway, let's close this app here and let's, how about we open up Safari real quick. We can load up the Apple website. We got the SE site happening here. Let's look up Apple News. And you know what? How about I handwrite that in the top or the text field here so I can do Apple News. And here we are, Apple releasing iOS 13.6 today with a car key feature. Very nice. Let's open up this article maybe. Let's do that. Very smooth, as you can see. How about we bring back Spotify, if I can use that in a sort of split screen view. Here we are. That's working very well. I can toggle or resize here, as you can see. That's great. Let's close this up here and open another app. How about Lightroom? This is kind of sticking out to me. Hopefully it has me signed in. That would be annoying if it didn't. So I will say allow access to all photos, and we can look at some of the thumbnails that I've been working on as of late. So we got, how about we got this switching to iPad Air one. We got this iPadOS test that I did. Here we go. I got two different versions of that. We got my Chromebook Duet. I can edit this a little bit, increase the exposure maybe. We got my iPad Air thumbnail. That was a fun video, so I can decrease exposure, maybe, I don't know, add some more clarity perhaps, see the before and after. So this appears to be pretty stable. I can scroll back even further, open up another thumbnail, and for anybody who's wondering, I make these thumbnails in Photoshop and then I enhance them in Lightroom just to make them pop a little bit more. So let's close that up here. How about we open the Notes app so we can do some handwriting here. Super smooth. My name is Noah. So yes, very enjoyable here. We can also do some of that shape feature where you just sort of draw and hold and it will make your shape more perfect or less like hand-drawn looking here. So that's good. The Notes app appears to be working very well. How about we toggle Siri? What's the weather like right now? And that was fairly quick, especially because my Wi-Fi in my basement is just not that great. So that came up pretty quickly. Who won the World Series in 1972? And there we go. Although I don't know anything about baseball, really. That's a fact. And that came up fairly quickly here. How about we open up Google Docs, one of my favorite applications, one of my most used applications actually here. And we can open up this video here where I have a kind of general idea of what this video is about. I can also go to another one, 6 reasons to buy the Tab S6 Lite. I did this video a couple weeks ago, or I think like 2 weeks ago, I think. Can go back here, scroll through some more. So this app appears to be stable. We can edit this document maybe here. And I wonder if Scribble works here. Let's see. Where do I... So it's not working here, but eventually I think it will. Oh, look, we got a little floating keyboard. That's super interesting. Okay, so it appears that Docs works, so I'm going to close that out here. Let's open up the YouTube app. And somebody requested that I do picture-in-picture, so I'll see if I can do that. I'm going to lower the volume. We can open up this iPhone 12 clone here, so let's see if I can actually do picture-in-picture. Unfortunately, I cannot demo that because I don't have YouTube Red. However, as you can see, things are working pretty decently here. I can scroll through my suggested videos in the comments just fine, close this just fine, and scroll through some more videos as well on my homepage. Let's go back home. How about we open up GoodNotes? This is an app that I use all the time. Saturday, finish, course, work. I can do see the boys / get some food, maybe highlight that because that's exceptionally important. I can scroll down here. I can select this word, maybe copy it, paste it down here, resize it, change the color. This is really all I do with this app, and this appears to be working just fine. So this would be a reason for me to upgrade my daily driver 12.9-inch iPad Pro to this version, because this appears to be working just fine. Somebody had requested that I go into the Files app, and we can absolutely do that here and check out the new-ish sidebar. I don't think this was changed that much, but there was definitely some amount of, change or overhaul. We can go to On My iPad. We can open up 4K clips that I have saved on here and play them back. So I can scrub through them like so, very smoothly here. I can also go to the iCloud drive and find some of my cloud storage or things that I've been storing on the cloud for a couple years. We can go to my downloads, see what I have downloaded recently. We can open up this here. This is a PDF or a note that I took, I think in Notability. We can go to Recents, Shared Documents. And yeah, so far, this is a pretty basic app. It hasn't changed, I don't think, too much compared to iPadOS 13, but it appears to be stable, as you can see here. And it seems like you should be able to conduct all your file management just fine. Next up, let's open up another important app, Gmail. This is something that I use all the time, and I'm going to have my screen blurred out because I have a bunch of business-oriented emails on here, but as you can see, I can open up a couple of them and respond or reply like so, type things in. I can close it back up, discard things or have things become a draft. I can go to the sidebar. I can go to my social emails, promotional emails, important, send, etc. Although this is a pretty simple web-based app, it appears to be working just fine from what I can tell. But before we continue with this iPadOS public beta testing, I once again want to briefly mention that this video is brought to you by iMazing and their all-purpose iPhone and iPad manager. The application is available on macOS and Windows and provides a number of great functions. You can diagnose your device's battery health, transfer any file between your Mac and PC to your iPhone via a drag-and-drop system, and schedule Mac-like wireless backups of your iPhone to your personal storage. You can buy a license whenever you feel the need to unlock more incredible features that give you more control over your iOS and iPadOS devices. And speaking of features, DigiDNA, the team behind iMazing, is always adding new ones. For example, they recently redesigned the photo transfer tool, which enables you to stream your iPhone's photo library directly from it. You can also, of course, back up your phone or iPad before updating to iOS or the iPadOS 14 public beta if you're brave enough, all thanks to iMazing's advanced backup browser, which is part of the app's free features. I'll leave a link in the video description if you're interested, and with the coupon code NOAH, you can get 30% off your license until iOS and iPadOS 14's official release this fall. Alright, next up, let's test up some more creative apps beyond just Lightroom. How about we open up a fan favorite, LumaFusion? And I plan on possibly doing some sort of test with this app, seeing if I could actually switch to it, although I am a big fan of Final Cut for my workflow. But anyway, I can keep this current selection apparently. We can scroll through here. This project was a thing when I had iPadOS 13 on this device, but as you can see, it's playing back very nicely here. I can reorganize some clips. So I'll pick a clip, how about that, and I will actually edit the way it looks here. So I can maybe messing around with contrast, maybe saturation. And this isn't supposed to look good. I'm just, making changes for the sake of changes. Can alter the red hue or whatever. And with those changes made, how about I go back here and play this clip back? And yeah, this is not really phasing the hardware within this iPad. Of course, I'm sure there are more intense things you can do, but Yeah, so far so good here. And also, of course, there might be some bugs within this app that LumaFusion has to, iron out. But for the most part here, with this brief little demo, it appears to be working just as well as it did with the previous version. We can also open up Procreate. And here we are. How about I zoom in? Oh boy. Oh, this is an animation. Oh my god. Okay, so if you're into animating with Procreate, then it appears to be playing back just fine. Let's go back to the gallery here where I can open up another project. How about Field of Dreams, which I conveniently messed up here, but I can, at least demo, some of the tools here. So round brush, done. So yep, there we go. I'm ruining this painting, this beautiful painting here, as you can see. And I can switch to the two different tools. So there you go. Let's zoom in here. I'm not somebody who uses this app, so I'm not noticing if there's anything wrong, but so far it appears to be good. No major crashing, and if you do rely on this for your workflow, then it's likely that it'll work just fine, like I've said with pretty much every app that I've encountered or used so far with this firmware. Let's open up a game really quick here, and the best one that I can think to play with this iPad flat on this table is good old-fashioned Minecraft. Mojang has a new look to its icon, or its logo apparently. So, a little bit choppy. That's interesting here. Is this a lack of optimization by Microsoft's part? Possibly. Because I do remember this being more smooth with iPadOS 14, especially on this device here. But yeah, I'm struggling with frames here. That's interesting. So, I'm not going to make the blanket claim that this applies to all games, but if Minecraft is having trouble here, then I would assume other games might have a bit of trouble as well. But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, it appears that the public beta isn't allowing this program or this application to run as nicely as it could, especially with the hardware inside. So that's interesting here. How about I open up another game too? Okay, well, here we are here, running through Nuketown, and I mean, from what I can tell, doesn't seem too much different from iPadOS 13. I mean, yeah, maybe there's a couple less frames, maybe this is a bit more choppy, but like I said, unlike Minecraft, I'm not noticing too much of a performance drop. I don't know. Maybe some apps are more affected by the experimental, or rather beta firmware, than others, but it appears that Call of Duty Mobile isn't very affected by it. So if you are a big fan of this game, or you use your iPad to play this game, then if you want the iPadOS 14 features, then I wouldn't be too concerned here, because this app seems to be running just fine. Somebody had also mentioned some kind of storage issue where they had like 200 gigs of other storage, although my iPad is just 128 gigs. Let's just see what's happening in the storage part here and see how much of my storage is other. So I have, a good like fourth that's other, but that might just be some app data, I think, so it doesn't seem to be overwhelming, at least in my case, but this is a bug, apparently, although I have not encountered it. Someone had also requested that I test out some of the Microsoft Suite, and although I forgot the password to my Office 365 account as of right now, I can still show you that all three of these apps open up just fine here. I can open up a template, and we can scroll through it and go through some menu items. I just can't edit anything because I'm not signed in. We can also open up PowerPoint and do something similar. We can open up a certain template and scroll through it and go through the menu here, as you can see. Same thing with Excel. We can go to a personal budget template, for example, and just scroll through it here just fine, select different rows and whatever. And yeah, I can't edit anything at the moment, but as you can see, all three of these apps open up just fine. And if you're somebody who does use Microsoft Office on a daily basis, then the iPadOS 14 beta shouldn't give you any issues from what I can tell. One of the last things I want to demo is potentially being able to output 4K video in YouTube here, which I don't think you could do in the past, but let's see. Many of you commented this, so let's see if we can toggle that here. Nope, I can only toggle up to 1080p 60, and this is a 4K 60 video. As you can see here, the title suggests that, so to answer your question, no, you cannot. And finally, with all these apps open, let's see how well my iPad managed its RAM or memory here. So let's go all the way back to the beginning and go back to notes here. We are loaded in just fine. We can also go back to the Lightroom app and we can continue where we left off. We can also go all the way back to the Files app. Didn't need to refresh there. We can go back to Procreate. Maybe that'll, nope, we're all good. It's still I'm still like vandalizing this piece here. We can go back to, how about, oh, I don't know, Safari. That didn't have to reload here. Mind you, I don't have all the apps ever. That kind of had to reload a little bit, but we're still in here. So yeah, so as you can see here, the iPadOS 14 public beta 2 is fairly smooth. Of course, it's going to have some bugs, and if you rely on your iPad for your workflow every single day and you're not sure if your particular app that you use will be supported, then I just would refrain. But if you are somebody who can deal with a couple hiccups here and there, and mostly a lot of stability with this version from what I can tell as I continue to say here, then I definitely would consider upgrading to get features like Scribble and the new widgets as well. And that about wraps things up here. I hope this video was helpful. Once again, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like, comment if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, and of course, subscribe for more content like this. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.